I'm Rachel, 68. Sitting on the porch of my renovated ranch house, I'm watching the sunrise paint the mountains in hues of purple and gold. The mining company's quarterly report lies in my hand, thick with official documents and a check for $437,000. It's a sight that still takes my breath away, even after receiving several of these checks. 6 months ago, my life was a far cry from this. After my husband Carl's passing, I was at the lawyer's office, listening to the reading of his will. Carl had left me the old ranch on Pine Ridge Road. But my daughter-in-law, Lisa, couldn't hide her disdain. "Get rid of that old place and come live with us. You can at least be of some use," she sneered. My son, Mark, just sat there, silent, avoiding my gaze. It was as if the boy I'd raised, the one I'd sacrificed so much for, had become a stranger. I was heartbroken. I'd given up my career, my dreams, everything for Mark. I'd worked long hours at the local bakery to support him through school, celebrated his every achievement, and comforted him in every disappointment. But now, he let Lisa treat me like an unwanted burden. I accepted their cruel words in silence and made my way to the ranch. It was a dilapidated place, down a long, neglected dirt road, 50 miles outside of town. As I stepped into the dusty and musty house, I felt like my entire world had crumbled. I was mourning not just Carl, but the illusion of a loving family. The first week at the ranch was tough. The silence was deafening, and I constantly missed the familiar sounds of home. But I threw myself into cleaning the house, partly to keep myself busy, and partly to uncover the secrets it held. In Carl's childhood bedroom, I found a collection of old coins in a wooden box. In what must have been his grandfather's study, there were old maps and ledgers. The real surprise came in the kitchen. Behind a loose panel in the pantry, I found a leather-bound journal filled with old letters in French. At the bottom were pictures of a beautiful young woman with a man who looked like Carl's grandfather. The letters spoke of mining rights and a hidden fortune beneath the land. I called an old friend, Betty, who'd lived in town forever. She told me that Carl's grandfather, Henry, had been convinced there was a large silver deposit on the property. He'd spent years filing claims and doing surveys, but then the war broke out. When he returned, he married the woman in the pictures, a French immigrant named Genevieve. She died in childbirth, and Henry became a recluse. Over time, everyone forgot about the mining business. After that, I started searching the house more thoroughly. In Henry's desk, I found detailed survey maps and correspondence with the mining authorities. But it was in the attic that I found the game changer. Hidden in a trunk was a recent geological report from a mining company, dated just 4 months before Carl's death. It confirmed the presence of a substantial silver deposit on the ranch. There was also a letter from Western Mining Corporation offering to lease the mineral rights for an upfront payment of $3 million plus quarterly royalties. I was stunned. All these years, while I'd worried about our finances and Mark's family, Carl had known about this fortune. I found a note in his handwriting, saying that he'd been waiting for the right time to tell me, to give me a chance at the life I'd sacrificed for our family. He'd been protecting this discovery from Lisa, who he knew was greedy and manipulative. I decided to take action. I called Western Mining Corporation. A professional man named Jack answered. He was excited to hear from me and said they were still very interested in the property. Given the current market conditions, they might even improve their offer. A few days later, the team from the mining company arrived. Jack explained that the silver deposit was of high-grade quality, which meant significantly higher royalty payments. They offered me $3.5 million upfront for a 20-year lease, plus quarterly royalties that could average between $250,000 and $400,000. Around this time, Mark started calling. Lisa, realizing something was up, had forced him to reach out. They were having financial problems with their house, high property taxes, and Lisa's expensive renovation plans. They wanted me to lend them $40,000. I asked Mark if he was happy with Lisa. I reminded him of the times I'd gone out of my way for him, like when he was 10 and wanted a bike. I'd worked extra shifts at the bakery to buy it for him. I told him I wouldn't be treated as a disposable resource anymore. I wanted him to be the man I'd raised him to be, to stand up for what was right. After some soul searching, Mark started to change. His calls became more sincere. He told me about his children's achievements and apologized for his past behavior. He said he was learning about boundaries and that he and Lisa were separated. I used some of the money to renovate the ranch, adding modern amenities while preserving its old world charm. I also took up painting and traveled to Paris to learn about art history. For the first time in my adult life, I was living for myself. The transformation in my life is complete. I'm no longer the woman who was exiled from her family. I'm Rachel, the owner of a valuable silver mine, and I've learned that true worth comes from self-respect and the ability to stand up for oneself. I wonder, if you were in my shoes, what would you have done?